Hello everyone, welcome back again to this channel. Thank you so much for being with me in this live section. So guys, just come closer and come and listen to what I have to tell you guys. If you know you're doing something at the moment, just please, drop it aside and come and listen to this wonderful thing I have to tell you guys. So guys, things are heating up fast as we move closer to the October 10th judgment on Nnamdi Kanu. Powerful northern groups are already making bold moves. Like the thing is already hitting close. Tension is coming as October 10th judgment is coming closer. So, the northerners groups are now making bold moves, sending fresh letters to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Judicial. And what are they saying? They're saying that it's not just politics, it's a warning. That they are warning Bola Ahmed Tinubu not to release Nnamdi Kanu. Now, for days now, the call of Nnamdi Kanu's unconditional release has been getting louder. Just yesterday, Lagos State lawmaker Jude Idimogu came out publicly urging Tinubu to free Kanu without conditions. And it's not just him. 17 youth groups from the 17 southern states have united, sending a clear message to the president. Mr. President, free this man. There is no legitimate case against him. His continued detention is an extraordinary injustice. They argue that holding Kanu under these conditions is legally meaningless, a violation that undermines the very rule of law. But here's where the real power play comes in. The northern political bloc has seen this momentum building, and they are pushing back hard. From day one, I have told Bola Ahmed Tinubu, this is not even your battle. You inherited it. The real drivers are northern political forces who want to message their political ego. They believe they have the power to decide who goes to jail, who stays in jail, and when to to release them. So to them, releasing Nnamdi Kanu now would be a sign of weakness. So they are applying calculated political pressure to stop it. Now, but let me remind you of something most Nigerians have forgotten. Back in 2017, the Coalition of Northern Group, which is CNG, is issued what they call the Cardinal Word Declaration. In that document, they actually told the federal government to allow the Igbos to go. They laid out articles and conditions, everything from territorial boundaries to economic separation. Now think about that. The same voices that once demanded separation are now fighting to keep the very man leading the separatist cause in detention. I'm going to dissect those articles for you later so you can see the complete U-turn for yourself. Now, before I continue this, please, if you know your first time, this is your first time of coming across this channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification, because I want everybody, to type in the comment section free Nnamdi Kanu, because since 2021, this young man has been in detention. Only God knows what he's going through. The isolation, the restriction, the psychological toll, like it's not easy. Now, here's the truth. If you stay silent, these people will keep pressuring the federal government to prolong his detention. But there's another part, and it is in the law. Tinubu has the constitutional power to end this immediately under Section 175 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This section allows the president to grant pardons, reduce stress, or other full release of anyone detained under our federal law. But here is the key. This will only happen if the pressure is greater on Tinubu to free Kanu than it is to keep him locked up. That is just it. Look at what the Kenya government has done in similar high-profile cases. Under international pressure, they have complied with legal rulings and diplomatic demands. If global attention falls on this cause, Tinubu will be forced to consider Section 175 in Kanu's favor. So these are the possible outcomes that is going to be happening on 10th October 2025 when he'll be coming to court. The court rulings in Kanu's favor, but political pressure blocks his release. Now, public and international pressure forces Tinubu to step in with prerogative of mercy and end this once and for all. Whichever way, one thing is certain: the battle is now as much political as it was legal. But this is more than a court case; it's a test of justice, political will, and the power of the people's voice. That is just it. So, like I always keep telling people have been asking me that what is going to be happening in 10th of October. I'm telling them that the thing that's going to be happening on 10th of October is that the Northerners try to deceive Bola Ahmed Tinubu not to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because they've already started sending warning to Tinubu, telling him not to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu unless a lot of things are going to be happening on 10th of October. So 10th October is around the corner, and the stakes have been high. Northern political groups are sending urgent letters to the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Judge Omotosho, warning of what will happen if Nnamdi Kanu is freed. But here's the twist. Back in 2017, these same groups told the government to let the Igbos go. So why the sudden change? Why the double standard? I'll break it down for you guys. Over the past few weeks, calls for Kanu's unconditional release have exploded. The Lagos lawmaker Jude Edumogo publicly told Tinubu to let him go. 17 Southern youth groups have united in one voice, arguing for his freedom. They say keeping him locked up is legally or meaningless, a total violation of justice, and they're not alone. Social media is filled with hashtags, petitions, and campaigns pushing for the same thing. But in the north, the response is completely different. This is the northerners' reaction. They said in the north, their response is just so different. Powerful interest groups, they see Kano as a symbol of political control. I've said this before. This is not Tinubu's original fight. He inherited it from Buhari. This is not, it's not even Tinubu that should be handling this matter now. In fact, he's supposed to even not even be talking about Nnamdi Kanu by now. He's not even his fight. I always say this is not Tinubu's original fight. He entered it from Buhari, and the main drivers are northern political forces determined to show that they can decide who remain behind bars. The northerners are always saying that, oh, they can decide who can remain behind bars. Thereby, they're telling Bola Ahmed Tinubu not to release him, don't release Nnamdi Kanu, because they feel that they have the power to decide who remain behind bars and who is going to be released. Now, to them, freeing Kanu now would be a loss of face and a dent in their image of authority. So the recent letters, sent to Tinubu and Judge Omotosho are not casual. They carry three key warnings. Security concerns. They claim Kanu's release could spark unrest. Political fallout. They argue it would embolden separatist movement. Power optics. They don't want to appear weak to their base. Now, here's the hypocrisy. In 2017, the coalition of northern groups issued the Cardinal Declaration. This document openly told the federal government to allow the Igbos to go and even listed conditions. Now, these are the conditions. Define the boundaries of the southeast. These were the conditions. Define the boundaries of the southeast, share assets fairly, arrange population relocation when necessary, end all federal presence in Igbo territory. These were former demands. Yet today, they are against the release of demands, symbolizing the very idea they once endorsed. Now, before we continue, please, guys, just like I always say, if you're just coming across this channel, please do what to click the subscribe button, like and share this live section, and also please type in the comment section free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because this man has really suffered a lot. This isn't just about one man; it's about what justice, fairness, and the law. Since 2021, Kanu has been in detention. We don't know the full conditions he's facing. We don't know what he's really facing there, but we know they are far from human. Now, there's a clear legal path to freedom, which is in section 175 of the Nigerian Constitution. This give the president power to grant pardon, reduce sentence, or order full release. Tinubu can use this today without waiting for court delays. But here's the truth: Tinubu will only act if the pressure to free Kanu is greater than the pressure to keep him locked up. Right now, the northern lobby is louder, and that has to change. The northerners are telling him that he should not release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and the pressure coming from the northerners are very, very loud, and much, and the pressure is too much. So the international strategy, I think we must involve the United Nations Human Rights Council, Amnesty International, African Union, foreign governments like the UK and US. Look at what happened in Kenya. Under international scrutiny, the government complied with legal and diplomatic demands. The same can happen here if global attention grows. Now, two scenarios are on the table. People have been asking me, a lot of people have been coming up asking me, please, what can tell us what may happen in October 10, 2025? And I keep telling them these are the two scenarios that are going to be happening in 10th October 2025. These are likely things that will be happening concerning Kanu's case. Now, court will rules in Kanu's favor, but political pressure stalls his release. Now, the courts may rule in Kanu's favor, but because of the political pressure, it may stall if he's going to be released or he's not going to be released. But now, another scenario that will be happening in October 10, 2025. Public and global pressure forces Tinubu, to use prerogative of mercy, to end the matter. It's either there will be a lot of global pressure or public pressure, whereby they will be asking Bola Ahmed Tinubu to use your prerogative of mercy to end this matter. Either way, the judgment day will be a turning point in Nigeria's political and legal history. This is not just a Kanu's fight; it is a test of Nigerian justice system, democracy, and political maturity. So, guys, please do wait to type in the comment section freedom for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in the comment section, and please share this video. Let the whole world know what is happening, because the battle for freedom is not one in silence. It is one when the people refuse to be ignored. Yes, the battle for freedom is not just one in silence. It is one when people, it is one when people refuse to be ignored. That is one thing people don't know. So you see, the northerners are trying to put put fire into this case. They are pressuring Bola Ahmed Tinubu to do what he doesn't want to do. Now, the political transfer of this case Nnamdi Kanu detention started under Buhari's administration, and the case was politically transferred now to Tinubu. That's what I keep telling you guys, that this fight is not even Tinubu's fight. It is what Buhari's fight. So Buhari just really transferred it to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Yes, that is what he did. He just transferred it to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now see the outcome of everything. Just see the outcome. Bola Ahmed Tinubu now, they have been telling him that if you want to have peace in this country, just free this man. Since Buhari have transferred it to you, just free him and have peace. But he doesn't want to hear. Now, October 10, the day the court could decide Nnamdi Kanu's fate, but behind the scenes, northern political groups are moving, to block his freedom. October 10 is the day that will be announcing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's freedom. But looking at what is happening behind the scene, the northern political groups are moving to block that freedom. They are writing letters, making calls, and meeting quietly with key decision makers. And yet, there's more to the story than politics. It's about economics, human rights, double standard, and the very unity of Nigeria itself. Let's start with the truth most. Let's start with the truth that most people don't like to talk about. This case did not just start with Tinubu. Nnamdi Kanu's detention began under Buhari, and when Tinubu came into power, the case was politically, transferred to him. This means Tinubu is inheriting someone else's fight, right? Many believe he might be willing to resolve it, but is under constant pressure from a northern bloc that sees keeping Kanu in detention as a matter of political pride. Now, Kanu's detention isn't just a political matter, it's costing Nigeria money. The Southeast economy has been disrupted by weekly sit-at-home orders. Trade routes are losing billions in revenue. Investors are pulling back from the region. The psychological fear is slowing business growth. Experts say a peaceful resolution could restore economic confidence and help us stabilize Nigeria's struggling GDP. Now, since 2021, Kano has been in detention under conditions that remain largely hidden from the public. Reports pointed to restricted family visits, limited medical care, and psychological stress. Under international human rights law, prolonged detention without a concluded trial is a violation. And Nigeria's own constitution says the same thing. The question is, why are these laws, being ignored? Why are they being ignored? Let's be honest. Nigeria has a history of granting pardons to political figures and militants from other regions. Some were even accused of armed rebellion, but were later released in the name of peace. So why is mercy being applied in other cases, but not here? Is justice supposed to depend on where you come from? So this is a risk of this is what they call the risk of what escalation. Keeping Kanu in detention may feel like control to some politicians, but history shows it can backfire. Suppressing one leader rarely kills an idea. In fact, it often strengthens it, creating new leaders who may be even harder to engage with. If the goal is peace and stability, then indefinite detention is the wrong strategy. The forgotten peace talk. Now, back in the early days, there were attempts to bring Kanu and government officials to the table for dialogue, but those talks collapsed, replaced by legal battles and security was cracked down. Many now believe reviving peace talks would be more effective than dragging this through endless court sections. Now, a political solution could save time, money, and life. Now, let's talk about the law in section 175 of the Nigerian Constitution, which gives the president the prerogative of mercy, basically the power to pardon anyone, reduce any sentence, or release a person in detention. A lot of people have been saying that since they're saying that Bola Ahmed Tinubu inherited Buhari's team, because you guys know that under Buhari's administration, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was a prisoner then. Immediately Buhari left, they transferred him to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So he is in Bola Ahmed Tinubu's hand. And people are saying that if Bola Ahmed Tinubu wanted to really release this man, he would have done it since, using the prerogative of mercy, to pardon anyone or to reduce anybody's sentence, or even release a person in detention. Think of it, as the president's constitutional remote control, he can stop the punishment at any point, no matter where the case stands in the court. No matter where it stands, the president has the power. If Bola Ahmed Tinubu come out today and say, okay, I want Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to be released, he has the power to do it, and nobody is going to trouble him. Nobody is going to tell him, why did you do that? Because what, he has the power. He only what he needs to do is, to just speak it. So people are feeling that he knows what he's doing by, trying to still keep him in detention. Now, history is full of examples where releasing political detainees, brought peace. Nelson Mandela in South Africa, leaders in Northern Ireland after the Good Friday Agreement, indigenous leaders in Canada as part of reconciliation efforts. Even Kenya has complied with international pressure in sensitive legal cases. The message is clear. Political mercy can be a tool for national healing. And here is the kicker: in 2017, the coalition of northern groups released the Cardinal Declaration.
telling the federal government to let the Igbos go. They even outlined how to do it, boundaries, asset division, and all. Fast forward to today, the same bloc is fighting to keep the face of Igbo self-determination behind bars. Was that 2017 statement genuine or just political war theater? October 10 is not just about the legal court, it's also about the court of public opinion. The legal court will decide based on arguments and evidence. The court of public opinion will judge based on fairness, history, and morality. And sometimes, public opinion is what force political action. So here's what I want you guys to please do in the comment section. Just like I always say, there's a normal ritual we do in this platform because we normally use this channel to agitate for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So please do well to type in the comment section, release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, or freedom for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, so that the whole world will know that this man is innocent, as well as the federal government. So please do well to type in the comment section, free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because this is more than a legal case. It is a test of Nigerian democracy, it is unity, and it is willingness to treat every citizen equally under the law. Now, if you want, I cannot be I will tell you guys the reason or the possible outcomes of what is going to be happening. Yes, what is going to be happening on 10th October? Because looking at it now, what is going to be happening on 10th October is that once they even resume court, once the court resume and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu enters court, the first thing they will do is that they will still try to see, because the way I'm seeing this case, the Northerners want to fight. Yes, the Northerners want to fight against the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That is the way I'm seeing this thing. That so 10th October we're going to is going to determine. Maybe now Omotosho may try to to release him because of something. He may try to rule in his favor, but because of the Northerners' pressure, he may not really say, oh, he's released, or he might not say, oh, let's release him because of the Northerners' pressure. Now, people often think judges are free to decide cases independently, but in high-profile political cases like Kanu, judges may face they may face backdoor pressure. Yes, they may not be. That's why I keep telling people that I will never wish to be like Justice James Omotosho. Here's the reason. The kind of thing that man will be going through now, the kind of pressure, and the kind of thing people may you'll be receiving a lot of calls, lot of letters telling him you must do this, you must do that. If you don't do this, this will do that. Like he'll be receiving a lot of threats. Self. That's why I keep saying I will never wish to be Justice James Omotosho in this particular case, because people often think that judges are free to decide cases independently, but in high-profile political cases like Kanu's judge, judges may face backdoor pressure. Is either threat of career stagnation, fear of backlash from political blocs, quiet reminders about national security. It raises the question: will October 10 even be a day of pure justice or political compromise? This is what people have been asking me. Would 10th October really be a day of pure justice or political compromise? Because the way the Northerners are even going about it shows that these people really don't want Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to be released. Now, Southeast governors have been criticized for being too silent, while some privately admit Kanu's release would help their state. They rarely speak up strongly in public. Why? Many are worried about losing federal funding or political alliances with northern allies. Tinubu is in a tricky position. If he allows Kanu's release, he risks angering the northern bloc that helped secure his election victory. If he keeps Kanu detained, he alienates a larger proportion of the southeast, making 2027 election harder to win. For Tinubu, this isn't just about justice, it's about balancing world political survival. Groups like Amnesty International and the United Nations Human Rights Council have previously flagged concerns over Kanu's arrest and detention. While their statements don't carry direct legal force in Nigeria, they shape global perception, which can influence trade, foreign aid, and diplomatic relations. The government often argues that keeping Kanu detained is a matter of national security, but security experts point out that unrest in the southeast has increased, not decreased, since his detention. In other words, the policy may be what backfiring. Now, beyond politics and law, real people are suffering. Traders lose money every Monday from sit-at-home orders. Transport companies face constant disruptions. Parents fear sending their children to school on Thursdays. This is why some community leaders say we need a political solution, not just endless war trial. One of the most controversial elements in this saga is how Kanu was brought back to Nigeria in 2021. His lawyers call it an extraordinary detention, essentially what kidnapping across borders without proper legal extradition. Under international law, such acts are illegal and can nullify a case in court. Some political analysts believe keeping Kanu detained is part of a broader regional dominance strategy, using the case as a symbol of northern control over national decisions. This makes the legal outcome less about guilt or innocence and more about power and precedent. In 2009, The Nigerian government granted amnesty to Niger Delta militants, many of whom had taken up arms against the state. The move reduced violence dramatically and brought leaders into formal negotiation. If amnesty worked there, why is the same approach off the table for the Southeast? In this case, if this case drags on for long, it could create what? A permanent wound in national unity. Young people in the Southeast who grew up seeing their region treated differently may lose all faith in the Nigerian project. That is not just a political risk, it's a national security war time bomb. Now, this case is not being fought only in courtroom, it's also being fought on Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. Global awareness campaigns, hashtag and viral videos are keeping the pressure alive, even when mainstream media, stays quiet. Now, whatever happens on October 10, whatever happens on the 10th October will enter the political history book. Yes, it will either be remembered as a day of justice or as yet another date when the Nigerian legal system bowed to political pressure. So just like I was saying, whatever will happen on 10th October was going to be a day we're going to know if justice will really take place on 10th October, because anything that's going to be happening on 10th October is going to be written in history. Now, even without the ruling party, APC, they acquired disagreements. Some southern members believe Kanu's continued detention is hurting the party's image. Northern headlines, however, see it as a show of strength and unity for the North. Now, Nigerian judiciary has long been accused of being influenced by the politics. The Kanu case is a litmus test. If the judgment is seen as politically motivated, public trust in the court could sink even further. While northern elders are largely against Kanu release, a growing number of northern youths on social media argue that detaining him is a waste of resource and fuels division. They ask, if the Niger Delta got amnesty, why can't the Southeast also get dialogue? Now, keeping a high-profile prisoner like Kanu under constant security costs money, from DSS operations to court logistics and international legal response. Critics say these fundings can be used to improve schools, hospitals, and what infrastructure. Some of observers wonder why certain embassies in Abuja, like those of the US and those of the US and UK, like those of the US and UK, have been relevantly what quiet. Analysts suggest they avoid speaking too strongly for fear of damaging trade or military cooperation with Nigeria. Southern newspapers tend to give Kanu's case more sympathetic coverage. Some northern outlets focus more on portraying IPOB as a security war threat. This media framing war influences public opinion region by region. Kanu's case may quietly become a campaign issue for 2027. Politicians from the Southeast could rally around his freedom as a unifying demand, forcing Tinubu's words hand. So, in the prerogative of mercy, under Section 135 of the Nigerian Constitution, the president can pardon individuals for offences. This is the legal doorway Tinubu could use if he wants to release Kanu without waiting for a full trial conclusion. Now, cases like this affect Nigeria's global brand. When headlines abroad read political prisoner held without fair trial, it discourages investors and raises questions about the rule of law. Now, beyond politics, this is about a man's personal life. Kanu's family has gone years without him. Supporters see him as a freedom fighter, critics see him as a disruptor, but both sides agree his absence has deeply changed the Southeast. Kenya still faces criticism for allegedly cooperating in Kanu's controversial arrest in 2021. Human rights groups they use his case as a warning about foreign governments aiding questionable security operations. From London to New York, Igbo communities abroad lobby their local politicians to put pressure on Abuja. This diaspora activism ensures the case stays in international conversation. Some insiders suggest Tinubu might explore a conditional freedom like bail with strict travel restrictions or a public pledge to avoid political rallies. This could serve as a middle ground. One reason northern allies resist Kanu's release: if the Southeast secures freedom for its agitator, it could what inspire similar movements in other regions from the Middle Belt to the Niger Delta. Some activists say their posts about Kanu are removed or shadow banned on platforms like Facebook, whether international or due to what automated moderation. It adds to fear of digital or suppression. Through Kanu's movement is not though Kanu's movement is not religious, some church leaders in the Southeast have called for his release as a Christian moral duty, framing it as forgiveness and reconciliation. Reports suggest Kanu's health has been declining in detention. So reports suggest Kanu's health has been declining in detention, medical neglect, restricted family visits, and lack of access to personal doctors have all been raised by his legal team. Now, elder statesmen like former President Olusegun Obasanjo have hinted that cases like Kanu should be handled politically and not just legally. This means negotiations, amnesty, and compromise, not endless trials. That is just it. So the more things that like I keep telling you people that you see 10th October 2025 is going to be determining what is going to be going on. Yes, because the northerners are ready to to still keep him at Nnamdi Kanu in detention, but the indigenous people of Biafra are saying a no. If they don't release him on 10th October, a lot is going to happen, because a lot is going to happen. A lot of protests will be taking place in Nigeria. Now, some political scientists say the Southeast may be using Kanu's case as a bargaining chip in federal negotiation, not just for his release, but for more federal appointments, infrastructure projects, and political war recognition. The International Criminal Court (ICC) shadow human rights lawyers hint that if Nigeria mishandles the case, activists could push for the ICC to investigate potential human rights violations, especially regarding unlawful detention or alleged torture. Business owners in the Southeast argue that the unrest tied to Kanu's detention, including the sit-at-home protests, has reduced investor confidence and cost millions in revenue loss. DSS, police, and military each want to be seen as the main handler of Kanu's case. This tough war sometimes leads to mixed signals in the media about his legal process and treatment. Tinubu's alleged remark that Kanu must be born again before receiving a pardon sparked a lot of debate on whether personal morality should be tied to constitutional mercy power. PDP, Labour Party, and others want to capitalize on the issue but risk alienating northern voters if they appear too sympathetic to Kanu. In the past, the UN human rights bodies have condemned arbitrary detention. If they make a formal pronouncement on Kanu's case, it could put Nigeria under heavy diplomatic pressure. In reality, the social media verdict often matters more than the legal ones. Memes, Twitter trends, and viral TikTok shaped the public perception long before any judge ruling. For many elders, Kanu's rhetorical stirs painful memories of the 1960s and 70s civil war. This emotional layer makes dialogue harder as old wounds resurface. Most Southeast governors tread carefully. They avoid openly attacking the federal government on Kanu's case, fearing retaliation through reduced federal allocation or political isolation. So security experts warn that prolonged detention without dialogue could radicalize more youth, pushing them from peaceful activism into militant separatism. Now, observers note that repeated court adjournments, sometimes over minor procedural issues, are seen as deliberate delay strategy to keep Kanu detained indefinitely. Nigerian entertainers, both in Nollywood and music, have occasionally weighed in, knowing that any comments can gain massive online traction, but also trigger backlash. Now, some insiders believe certain politicians could use Kanu's case as a blackmail tool during political negotiation, offering to influence his release in exchange for political favors. Prolonged unrest and economic decline have pushed many young people to migrate abroad, a trend partly linked to the instability tied to Kanu's detention. For Tinubu, deciding Kanu's fate is not just about security, it's about how history will remember him. Will he be seen as a reconciler or as another president who deepened Nigerians' division? Now, if Kanu's legal team unexpectedly wins in court, the federal government could face a political embarrassment and have to explain years of detention. Igbo communities abroad send billions in remittance yearly, and they are increasingly tying their financial donations to political demands, including Kanu's release. Some think tanks have proposed a roadmap, and it's drop certain charges, set up a peace commission, offer amnesty in exchange for ending in violent protests. Just like I always tell you guys, that these people are trying all their possible best. Nonetheless are trying all their possible best not to make Nnamdi Kanu, they don't want Nnamdi Kanu to be released. So guys, please don't forget, to drop your comment below, because I really want this live section to be an interactive section. So drop your questions below, and we'll be taking it one after the other. So let's go on. Some religious leaders, pastors, priests, and imams have quietly offered to mediate between the federal government and IPOB, arguing that faith-based dialogue could succeed where politics has failed.
So today I'm wearing two hats. I'm speaking on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu. I'm also speaking on my own behalf. My name is Aloy Ejimako. I'm the special counsel to Nnamdi Kanu and the indigenous people of Biafra. And I'm speaking to you from a location in Nigeria. The man, Nnamdi Kanu, is well known. He's everywhere. He's on Wikipedia. He's an internationally acclaimed freedom fighter. But there's just a few things I need to tell you about him. What brought him to limelight was the formation of the indigenous people of Biafra in the United Kingdom in 2012. Simultaneously, he also founded Radio Biafra. And these two organizations were aimed at one thing: liberation for the people of Biafra, or restoration of the former Republic of Biafra that went defunct in 1970. The right to self-determination is a right that is guaranteed internationally, domestically, and continentally. It's within the black letters of Nigerian law at Article 20 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. The right to self-determination is guaranteed. So the formation of IPOB did not break any law. Not laws of the United Kingdom, not international law, not Nigerian law. But guess what? When Nnamdi Kanu, who was born in Nigeria, but who acquired British citizenship later on, came to Nigeria in October 2015, the government of President Muhammadu Buhari, which had come to power in May, decided to arrest him. He was not arrested between 2012 and 2015 because the government of the day at that time understood that self-determination is not a crime. But the government that came into power in 2015 in May decided that self-determination is going to be treated as a criminal activity. So he was arrested in Lagos. He was charged for treason, also for insulting the president and illegal importation of radio equipment. 3 charges. The treason one, they split it into 2, treason by himself and treason by conspiracy. This thing went on from 2015 until April 2017, when he was eventually granted bail. So he was detained for nearly 18 months. After granting him bail, he returned to his ancestral home in the southeastern part of Nigeria, and he was enjoying his bail when suddenly, between 10 September and 14 September 2017, the Nigerian army, without any justification whatsoever, levied lethal, massive military operations against Nnamdi Kanu's ancestral home. That day, he was sitting at home with so many people, his family members, including his 2 elderly parents. The attack was lightning, it was a bleakridge, it was massive, and it was not the type of an attack you will expect a national military force to levy on a civilian location. But they did. At the end of the day, 28 people lost their lives. Nnamdi Kanu sustained injuries. His parents sustained injuries as well. But somehow, by the grace of God, they all managed to escape. From there, the rest is history. And because there was a national and international manhunt for him by the security forces, which rules of engagement was to shoot, not to maim. If you see Nnamdi Kanu, if you encounter him anywhere, shoot not to maim. Not to maim, but shoot to kill. That's what they went there to do on 10 September, but they didn't succeed. But it went on. They went on in a manhunt. So Nnamdi Kanu was forced to flee the municipal boundaries of Nigeria in search of safe haven overseas. Eventually, in May 2021, he settled in Kenya. He entered Nairobi and settled in Kenya somewhere. He never knew that Nigerian security forces, the international branch of it, were laying in wait for him. They laid an ambush for him. So on 19th June 2021, he drove himself to Jomo Kenyatta International Airport on a personal errand. As soon as he drove into the parking lot and alighted from his vehicle, several well-armed security men suspected to be of a mixture of Nigerian and Kenyan security forces swooped on him, grabbed him, abducted him, and put him forcibly in a vehicle and drove away. Well, they didn't take him to the police station. They didn't take him to immigration because he was a foreigner. He should have been taken to immigration. They didn't take him to any official law enforcement facility. They took him to a secret location in Nairobi, a non-official secret location. So in effect, they disappeared him. And they kept him at that secret location for a whole 8 days. And those 8 days he endured horrendous torture. All these are matters of record between the various tribunals and courts before whom this matter has been brought. I cannot begin to give you all the details. Horrendous torture in violation of basic human rights, in violation of the laws of Kenya, Nigeria, and the international community. When Nnamdi Kanu was abducted on 19th June 2021, the proper thing that should have been done is to take him to a police station, from there to a court. And then if you wanted him back in Nigeria, you subject him to what is called extradition proceedings. This is a basic tenet of the law that you see in the laws of any nation. Kenya has an extradition act to which Nnamdi Kanu should have been subjected. But guess what? They didn't do that. They rather disappeared him for 8 days, tortured him to their heart's content. And on 27th June, they secretly brought him out from this location and took him through the back doors, evading Kenyan immigration, direct to the tarmac of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Nairobi, where a private plane was waiting. They bundled him into the plane, chained him to the chair, and everything. He endured 5-6 hours flight from Nairobi to Kenya in the most excruciating circumstances. They arrived in Nigeria late in the evening and the plane flew back to Nairobi. They took him to the headquarters of the National Intelligence Agency in Abuja, where he spent the first night with all the lights left on to assure his maximum discomfort. The following day, they transferred him to the headquarters of Directorate of State Security in Abuja. And on the third day, they brought him before the Federal High Court in Abuja. The Federal High Court was well aware that Nnamdi Kanu has counsel of record. It was an open case, it wasn't a new case, a pre-existing case. But the Federal High Court decided to conduct the arraignment in violation of his constitutional right to counsel, and that arraignment led to the indefinite. Anyways, taking you back a few steps, the little military invasion of 2017 was not unrequited, judicially speaking. I took the matter before two tribunals, or a tribunal and a court. First, I took it to the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, which rendered a decision in March 2018 condemning the action and calling it a violation of the African Charter. And they wrote to the President of Nigeria, they wrote a letter to the President of Nigeria requesting him or directing him. They used diplomatic language, but the decision was there that what you did is wrong, so you need to roll it back. You need to reverse everything you have done, which includes declaration of IPOB as a terrorist organization and hounding their members as criminals. The African Commission held that what Nigerian government was doing was persecution, not prosecution. That the IPOB and its members simply possess an inconvenient political opinion which the Nigerian government was seeking to suppress by means of punishment of some sort. And they asked or directed Nigerian government to reverse itself. Nigerian government never did. Rather, it escalated. Well, subsequently, I went to a local court, a high court in Abia State in eastern Nigeria. I sued the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Nigerian Army, and other parties who were confederates in that attack of September 2017. And in January 2022, fortunately for us, we won. The High Court made an order. The High Court reached a judgment that what happened to Nnamdi Kanu in September 2017 was a flagrant violation of his constitutional right to life and constitutional right to his privacy. And the court proceeded to make an order ordering the federal government of Nigeria or Federal Republic of Nigeria to pay him a compensation of 1 billion Nigerian naira, which is over $1 million US. The court also ordered the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the President of Nigeria to issue a public apology to be published in 3 national Nigerian newspapers to Nnamdi Kanu. None of this has happened. So we kept that aside. So when they brought Nnamdi Kanu forcibly from Kenya without extradition proceedings, I characterized it an act of extraordinary rendition. Initially, there was a misunderstanding, a broad, widespread misunderstanding by vast majorities of Nigerians who were mouthing the cliche, Nnamdi Kanu extradited from Kenya. No, that was wrong. He wasn't. I told people he wasn't. He was extraordinarily renditioned or rendered, and that is against international law, Kenyan law, and laws of the Federation of Nigeria. So while his criminal trial was making its way slowly at Abuja, with all the several amendments the government was bringing, they walked away from treasonable felony, insulting the president, importation of radio equipment, and bam, to terrorism. That's how it happened. And they did this 7 times. 7 amendments. If Nnamdi Kanu was guilty, why is it taking so long to bring him to trial between 2015 and today? That is 8 years. So what he's undergoing is not really a judicial trial. It's a trial by ordeal. Trial by fire. Imprisonment before conviction. They just want to get as many years of jail time out of him as possible, because they know that with the evidence available, conviction will be impossible. And that was made worse by the extraordinary rendition, which I took also as a civil violation to a federal high court in Nigeria. And in October 2022, the Federal High Court came down with a judgment that extraordinary rendition was a violation of his constitutional rights, his fundamental rights, and they awarded him 500 million Nigerian naira. That's about $800,000. So all around, everywhere that this matter has gone to, including in July 2022, before the Human Rights Council at the United Nations. The Human Rights Council, United Nations, came down with an opinion that what happened to Nnamdi Kanu in Kenya and that brought him to Nigeria is a very grave violation of international law. And they directed that he should be released unconditionally. And of course, the Court of Appeal in Nigeria did come down with a similar judgment. In same October 2022, discharging Nnamdi Kanu of all charges and bearing any further trial of his person in any court in Nigeria as a consequence, as a direct consequence of the extraordinary rendition. So what more can you ask for a man to deserve his freedom? How many have I counted? United Nations, which in this case should be considered a world court. Then you have the Nigerian Court of Appeal, which is the second highest court in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Then you have the Federal High Court, which is the court of first instance at the federal level. And of course, you have the State High Court that awarded him 1 billion Nigerian naira. So between 2015 and today, 8 years and running, Nnamdi Kanu has snagged 4 major victories against the Federal Republic of Nigeria, with Federal Republic of Nigeria winning nothing. What more do you need as stark evidence, affirmative evidence that what is happening here, ladies and gentlemen, is an act of persecution, not prosecution? It's time to end it. On his behalf, I will ask all men and women of goodwill everywhere in the world to speak up. There was this saying about Jews. When they came for the Jew, you said nothing. When they came for the Jew, you said nothing because you're a trade unionist. Then when they came for the trade unionist, you say, well, I'm a scientist. You said nothing. They took the Jew, they took the trade unionist. And then when they came for the scientists, nobody spoke for you. Nnamdi Kanu is a poster boy for all the injustices that a great race, the Igbo people, and their cousins in the former eastern Nigeria have been subjected to since the founding of Nigeria. These injustices became more public because since 2015 they have been escalated. So how do you fight back? You fight back by telling the system, I want out. I want my own country is not a crime. It does not require a bullet. It doesn't require muscular military law enforcement. What it requires is sitting across the table and talking about it. A lot of nations have been founded on referendum. That's what Nnamdi Kanu and the Judicial spirit of Biafra were asking for. That led to all this conundrum, to all this saga.
When the president calmed down, the reason Nnamdi Kanu have a discussion with him. You have been having a discussion with bandits and the so-called repentant Boko Haram. Tell me the offense of Nnamdi Kanu, because he's agitating for self-determination, which is his own constitutional fundamental rights granted to him by the Constitution and the law.
Well, the government's anger is not because of the agitation, because they know that everyone has a right to agitate. But they said the way he was going about it, and then people were being incited. Well, that's even not what I'm
What of the wife of the president incited people during the election? The wife of the president, he incited people that Igbo should go. What of the one of Lagos said that Igbo should go and fall into Lagoon? What of those that came out and said that Igbos will not vote? If you are not voting for APC, you will not vote. What happened to them? Has anybody been arrested? That Nnamdi Kanu said something. Then you now term that thing he said as is a terrorist, is a crime of terrorism. You charge him for terrorism. His own lawful organization that is registered in almost all the whole countries in America and Europe and Asia, and you now came to Nigeria, you term it a terrorist organization. Now you are now saying that now that IPOB is being recognized in almost all the whole countries in America and Europe. So you are now saying that America, France, Germany, they are recognizing a terrorist organization because you don't want anybody to agitate. You want to suppress anybody. If you talk, kill him, suppress him, jail him. in a country that is predicated on constitutional governance. It cannot work like that.
Okay, let's get back to the ministerial nomination of Bianca Ojukwu, you know, because you said he took away one from Anambra and brought in another. But remember that the president took away the minister based on the KPI results that came out, which he was not even the one, that did the evaluation. It was the result given to him with which he did that, meaning that if actually the minister had performed, above board in the KPI, he wouldn't have had any reason to remove her rather.
Now, still on that ministerial list, we have 48 of them, am I right? And we have 36 states in this country, including FCT 37. So, apart from Southeast, that have only 5, every other region have more than 6, apart from Southeast. Now, take since 1999, we have been having series of presidents. Let's use what is going on now. The president is from where? Vice is from where? Speaker is from where? Senate President is from where? CJN is from where? Court of Appeal President is from where? National Industrial Court President is from where? Chief Judge of Federal High Court is from where? And they are saying that the people of Southeast belongs to this country.
Are you sure you're not? I mean, it's just like what I said too. I mean, isn't it time we started to be less sentimental about this diversity?
We have to apply it now. We are saying that the only people that are qualified to hold all this position, nobody from South is qualified. On what basis?
Are you saying that
but the chief of naval staff is from the Southeast?
Huh?
The chief of naval staff?
From where? I'm talking about the key position. Number 1 person, number 2 person, number 3 person, number 4 person, number 5 person. The key position. We have 3 arms of government: the executive, the judiciary, and the parliament. You can never see anybody from Southeast there. Now, the point we are talking about is that I'm not even talking about, I'm in court about lopsided appointments.
Okay.
I can avail that my process because I did an intensive research in that process. File it, asking court to view whether this particular appointment, whether this particular government is in line with Federal Character Establishment Act, an act of National Assembly that said that you should carry everybody along. Section 14 of the Constitution also said that you should carry everybody along. And they are not doing all these things. You are telling me that, yes, now that you have removed Kennedy Handele and they are now brought in Bianca Ojukwu, that the people of Southeast will jubilate. Are you talking to idiots? Look at the people that you are talking about. Let me start with the sports. In football, the people that have made Nigeria proud are the people of Southeast. In commerce, in aviation industry, name it. In academics, they are from people of Southeast. But when it comes to power, they are not qualified. And we want them to be happy. Listen, let me tell you, like today that is Monday, go to Southeast. And my annoyance is that these things are avoidable for Christ's sake. They won at Niger. They listen to the Kanu. Let us start addressing this issue. This early morning, somebody sent me a clip, something they posted. That they said from, I think they said next week, the next 2 weeks, that there will be nothing like federal courts in the whole of Southeast. What do I mean by federal courts? Federal courts, National Industrial Court is a federal court. Federal High Court is a federal court. Court of Appeal is a federal court. Now, the judges that are there, most of them are not Igbos. Majority of them are not Igbos. How should you risk somebody to go and preside in the Court of Appeal over the Judicial Division, Oka Judicial Division, Enugu Judicial Division? How can you appoint somebody to go and preside in Federal High Court in the Southeast, National Industrial Court in the Southeast? And they are not even thinking about all this. And the judges are not even thinking about, So the point we are talking about is that when there is a problem, look for a solution. Personally, somebody like us, we're not even, I'm defending Nnamdi Kanu, one of his lawyers. So when they say so you people are not doing what you're supposed to do, the person that is calling you, don't even know him. He's using a hidden number to call you. You don't even know what they're talking about court. The only thing is that you went to court and you were unable to bring Nnamdi Kanu out. They're not even safe.
Okay, Maxwell, let me ask you this, because from what you're saying, I've also heard IPOB many times deny, allegations of being involved in some of the killings that happen in the Southeast and some of the, the ills that we see in the society. Even the sit-at-home in question, IPOB has also claimed that he has not asked anybody to sit at home. I don't know, get my point. So the point I'm making is that from what you're saying, it would look as if what you're actually trying to say is that it's because Nnamdi is being held,
yes,
that is why, the ills in the society in the Southeast has escalated. Does it have anything to do with him? That is what you're saying?
Do you know why? Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB is his initiative. He established it, he organized it. Now, when you now kidnapped him or adopted him, and unlawfully, because the Supreme Court have said that he was unlawfully brought into this country, and You kept him incommunicado. Everybody on his own. This one we kill, you said at IPOB. This one we maim, you said at IPOB. Everybody on his own. That's why I asked you the question, who is IPOB? The IPOB you know is Nnamdi Kanu. So Nnamdi Kanu, if Nnamdi Kanu is out, you will know who is who. Simon Ekpa will talk his own. Emma Powerful will talk his own. This one will talk his own. This one. Who is IPOB? That you are even talking. Simon Ekpa is in Finland. Emma Powerful, I don't know where he's operating from. Another person is operating from somewhere. Issuing threats. Just like the one somebody told me. I don't even know where that one is coming from. So the easiest way to do is the one that you know. Nnamdi Kanu. Then tell Attorney General, as he discontinue the charges against the president of Mieti Ala Kato, discontinue that of Showore, they are all terrorism. Tell them to discontinue that of Nnamdi Kanu. And allow Nnamdi Kanu to agitate. It is his right. I told you the other day.
You see, that's where the problem is, really. The guarantee, that there will not be problems, even if Nnamdi Kanu is. Because you're saying allow him to agitate, and he goes about it the way he used to, like, the government have actually feared. That may also create more problems, don't you think?
Let me tell you. There are some things that you asked me the other day whether they are talking about condition giving Nnamdi Kanu. I told you one question. I say, if you give Nnamdi Kanu condition that he feel after meeting up that condition, he will still live like a human being. So be it. But when you give him condition and you are removing that made him a human being, he will tell you no. What is that made you a human being? That thing that makes you a human being is your ability to exercise your fundamental rights. And when somebody said, now I'm going to employ you here, I will be paying you $500,000 every month, but you will not talk. You will not move out. You say, do away with your job. When somebody said, I'm going to release you, but I'll cut one of their hands. Say no. The agitation for self-determination is a fundamental right. And if you people fail to understand it, I can agitate that I need the Republic of Maxwell. Yeah. It is my right. Anybody can agitate. I don't even need crowd to follow me. It is when you now feel that you have gotten the necessary need the necessary qualities, then so be it. It is now left for the president who believe in democracy, who believe in government of the people by the people, to apply an initiative. What is the initiative? Release the person, start addressing all those issues that gave rise to this agitation. It has been there. Uwazirike was agitating during Obasanjo. A lot of people were agitating. So now that you have arrested, you come down Uwazirike that time. Nnamdi Kanu came up. Now that you have arrested Nnamdi Kanu, someone is there. I think this data from Ned Nwoko was telling you that even if you arrest Simon Ekpa today, another Simon Ekpa will come out. So the issue there is that address all those issues.
So for you, it's not about ministerial appointment.
No. That one. Okay, that is a complete distraction. It
shouldn't even come in.
Okay. After coming in now, let Bianca come and address the Igbos in Enugu.
All right.
So guys, I'm sure you guys have listened to what the lawyer of Nnamdi Kanu said, and you guys heard him clearly talking about the detention of Nnamdi Kanu, saying that if you guys want to release this man, if you guys want to release this man, make sure that you take him to court. If he's guilty, jail him. If he's not guilty, then release him. And they said that they're going to give him condition. Why are you giving him condition? He should be released on condition. He should be released unconditionally, because he should be released unconditionally, because this man has nothing. He has not been committed any crime. He did not do anything.
Anyway, guys, that's all we have for today. Please let me know your thoughts below. And also, if you know you're new to this channel, please don't forget to click the subscribe button, like and share, turn on the notification button to get all the latest news in this channel. And also, don't forget that he will be coming to court on the 10th October 2025, and giving you guys latest updates and everything concerning Nnamdi Kanu. So, guys, thanks for watching, and see you guys again in my next live section.